Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's DJ here, hands-on SAP Dev with QMacro, episode 50. I've just been sitting here thinking, why am I not live yet? So I pressed the center, I just don't know what I'm doing. Press the go live on Lightstream. But of course, I'm using YouTube now and had to go live on YouTube. So I'm sending it from my machine to Lightstream in the cloud. And Lightstream sends the stream, the encoded stream, to YouTube's ingest servers. And of course, I've got my YouTube live streaming studio here, and I had a big button saying go live, and I forgot to press that. So there we go. Good morning, everyone. It's Friday again, 17th of January, 2020. I've got my coffee here in my SAP Coffee Corner Radio podcast mug, as usual. It's quite nice coffee. I've got one more portion of coffee today, but I think I've got some more arriving from Rave Coffee in Cirencester. Very good, the Chatswood blend. Good morning, Freddie. Good morning, Helmut. Good morning, Robert. Good morning, Andrew. Good Friday afternoon, in fact. I'm going to say good morning for now to everybody. I'm not going to try and work out who's where. So yes, good morning, Andrew, and thank you so much for diving into. It was episode 1 you were looking at, wasn't it? Maybe we'll just have a quick look at that on the chat on the screen shortly. Yeah. So good morning to Andrew in Melbourne. Good morning, Rooney. Good morning, Elena. Good morning, Leo, Napi, Pierre. Oh, this is fantastic. Chesh. Good morning. Decon was good, thank you. Decon was good. A huge amount of interest in all sorts of different things, and we had a small app space there as well with, I don't know how many PCs, how many laptops, maybe 20, I don't know. We should get the cake, really. Good morning, Christian. And finally are able to attend again. That's really good. That's really good. It's going to be a bit of a mixed bag today, and I'll tell you why shortly. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller here. 100%. There we go. I can see things better now. Ah, yes, stream output. Perfect. Perfect. So let's get going. Again, if you don't know we're streaming, well, of course, if you do, you know we're streaming on YouTube now for the rest of the time. I think it's working well. Let me know what you think in the comments. Keep that chat going. By the way, while the chat is appearing right now on the right-hand side here, over the background, overlaid over the background, when we move to, or when I switch to the screen share scene, I'm not going to display the chat overlaid over the screen. It's always a bit of a problem, you know. Where do I put the screen? Do I overlay the chat over the screen and obscure part of what I'm showing? And I did that with Twitch because in the replays, of course, there was no sort of live chat replay as well. But in YouTube, there's a live chat replay feature, which I saw on Max's live stream. I'll talk about Max's live stream shortly. And I think I've configured it correctly now so that if you, or when you watch the recording of this live stream on YouTube, the chat as it happens here, that's happening right now, will be replayed on the side as well as part of the YouTube UI, not, you know, so I don't need it on the video, otherwise it'd be doubled. So that's a bit of an experiment. If that doesn't work and the YouTube live chat replay rather, doesn't work, then I can go back. But it means that I can expand my screen share to the full broadcast resolution. By the way, I'm still experimenting with broadcaster resolutions here. I've set my 4K monitor. I've set the resolution of that 4K monitor to twice 720p because that's what I'm streaming at. And then I'm cropping only a quarter of that. So the resolution is what, 2560 by 1440, and I'm cropping that to a quarter, which is theoretically exactly 720p, which is 1280 by 720. So there should be fewer sort of compression artifacts. Let me know how it looks when we get to my screen. So thank you all so much for joining. Napit, thank you for confirming. Thank you for letting us know YouTube is better. I think it's better as well, and also, of course, it's better because we got Pierre on the live stream again, which is fantastic to see. Talking of Pierre, let me switch to the main scene here, which of course is my screen share, which should now be full screen. And yes, talking of Pierre Dominique, who I'm sure I saw. Pierre. Did I see you on the chat, Pierre? Where are you? Yes, you are. Morning. Yes, morning. Pierre has organised a code jam in. Is that your hometown of Lyon, or there is a longer name of a sub town within Lyon? And I can't remember what it is. It's quite a beautiful name. It's like 3 or 4 words. Let me know what it is, Pierre. Servus, Gregor, Servus, welcome. And we have a code jam. So this is my first code jam of 2020. It's next week. It's in Lyon. Okay, so there's a really nice blog post here about that from Pierre. Again, because I'm using the YouTube studio, I've got my little chat here, which is a lot better. But I do love the old way we used to do it as well, where folks like Rooney used to paste those, and Gregor and other people as well used to paste those URLs in for me. So yeah, we've got a code jam happening next week in Lyon on Thursday, I think it is. And I'm traveling back on Friday morning, which means, again, because I was traveling back Friday morning last week from SAP DCOM in Karlsruhe, which means that there won't be a live stream on Friday next week. But I'm going to try and do another one next week sometime, because there's some things I want to hack around with you on the off-piste section of live streams. But anyway, more on that later. So there's Pierre's blog post there. Also, a couple of weeks after that, Rooney has organised a code jam in Oslo. So in the same, maybe not same office, but same building, same area as where we had the SAP Inside Track Oslo last year, which was awesome. And there's a few spaces left there, so get onto that if you're in the Oslo area. Okay, Freddie, good luck at school today. Hope everything goes okay with your foot, with your ankle. He's Freddie on crutches at the moment. So have a good day at school. Work hard. Enjoy your computing and everything else, and see you on the weekend maybe. Right, okay, so SAP Code Jam Oslo on Wednesday, February the 5th. I'm going over there. I'm looking forward to that. Both these code jams are the Cloud Application Programming Model Node.js flavor code jams. So I'm excited about that. And I've been reworking some of the content to bring it up to date. Oh, it's not the same building. It's on the other side of the rail tracks. Isn't that like an album from Bob Dylan or something? Why am I thinking other side of the tracks, Bob Dylan? Yeah, maybe. I won't look it up now. I won't bore you with looking it up. Maybe somebody else can look it up. Tracks, railroad tracks, other side of the tracks, Bob Dylan. I don't know. So that's Code Jam Oslo, which is fantastic. By the way, for those of you who don't know, I mean, it's public knowledge. Some awesome folks, including Volker and including Christian and other folks in this channel here, Gregor and other folks. And other folks also on the other channels in this SAP Mentors and Friends Slack workspace have thought of organizing a CAP conference. So the CAP conference is going to be this year, 2020. We've got an awesome draft logo there from Christian, him of the magic graphical fingers. And so, yeah, look out for that. When was the date? Was it the 15th of May or something? Or we should have it really here in the thing. There we go. There's some logo ideas. The beautiful thing is, I had a brain failure. I was trying to figure out why people were going for this greater than and then triple equals sign. But of course, it's part of the CAP logo. I was thinking, okay, well, let's use a combination of nice terminal commands to build a recap logo. The nominal name of the conference is Recap, Re, as in the Latin word that's used now in English for about cap, and also recap, going over again and a summary and everything. May the 15th. Thanks, Pierre. Hey, Las. Volker, we're just talking about you, actually. So there we go. So yeah, some awesome ideas. And of course, there's the logo. We're talking of the logo. And that, of course, as Gregor pointed out, to me, I was so close to it, I couldn't even see it. There's the logo in the diagram that I show everybody. How can I miss that? Yes, the coin dropped, as Gregor told me. Now, I was talking about T-shirt giveaways last episode, on episode 49. I have here this is large, a men's large, unused SAP Cloud Application Pro. Let me put this on the light on as well. SAP Cloud Application Programming Model T-shirt, limited edition, collector's item. And if anybody is male large, I mean this is my size. You know, you sort of roughly know my size. It's not a big large. It's not a small large either. It's just, you know, a normal large. I guess if you want this T-shirt, I will send it to you. So let me know. There's other T-shirts as well. So the first person to say in the chat that they want it, then I'll send me your address privately, etc., as usual, and I will post that to you forthwith. I also have some more stickers as well, but we'll do a sticker giveaway next week. Organize the stickers again. If you want some stickers, let me know. Gregor, you would need XL, and Nabheat XXL. I don't think so, Nabheat. But anyway, if you want XXL, you know, make a tent or something, then that's all good. Yeah, that's a large. Anybody who wants a large Cloud Application Programming Model T-shirt sent to them in the post from Manchester, let me know. Andrew Barnard, are you the first person to say, are you going for this large? Let me know if why thank you is the large thing there. Let me know. Right, okay. Well, I would bring some, Pierre. But I've only got this one. I've only got this one right now. But next time I go to Waldorf, I'll see if we've got any more T-shirts. So there we go. Right. Okay. So I'm still waiting for somebody to say in the chat that they want it. Andrew, I'm not sure whether that was yes, please. Can I have it? Cool to have the shirts, Rika. Yes. Yes. Let's. Okay. In fact, yeah. Christian, send me a DM on Twitter. Remember. Okay, Andrew, send me your postal address. Andrew, the T-shirt's yours. Send me your postal address in Australia, in Melbourne, and I'll send that to you as well. Perfect. Lovely. Right. Okay. And Christian, send me your address. I'll send you some stickers. Okay, that was that. Now, one of the things I wanted to do on another sort of off-piece live stream is play about a little bit more with Kubernetes and Docker Swarm and just general clustering and things like that on my Raspberry Pi cluster, which is, I'm not sure whether you can see it or not, which is there at the moment. I've reorganized my desk. I've got my Tinker desk here. So there it is. And I'm looking forward to playing around with you with that. So let me know if you'd be interested in some, you know, sort of non-Friday live streams, hacking around with Ansible and Docker Swarm and Raspberry Pis and everything to get something up and running. I'm thinking of looking into functions as a service, and this is an awesome project that we can sort of play around with to teach ourselves more about functions as a service for when, the new version of functions as a service comes on board on the cloud platform. So let me know. Okay, so there's that. If you've not already subscribed to Max Streifeneder, he's got a live stream now. I think he's still doing it monthly, but there's his channel. Yes, as you can see, the next one is in February. I think he's traveling and stuff, but he's doing it monthly. So there we go. There's Max. Ooh, I've just closed the window. Am I still live? Yes, I'm still live. That's quite good. I closed the YouTube live streaming window by mistake, and but I'm still live, which is good. There we go. So that's that. Also, an awesome blog post that I read the other day. If you're interested in live streaming and behind the scenes, is from Ronnie here. So there's that stream on, and of course that's related to Oliver Cole's initiative, and Oliver Cole and Friends initiative, Open SAP Inside Track. Yeah, Yes, sorry. So look at that as well, because that is an awesome initiative, collecting together all the recordings of the live streams from the SAP Inside Track events around the world. So have a look at that. Have a look at Ronnie's blog post as well, which is a bit of a behind the scenes of how they live streamed at SAP Inside Track Oslo, which was awesome. So Volker, to your question, what didn't we good at people there? That's quite good. I can see my name there, at DJ Adams. Have you announced the recap? I did. I said it very briefly. Yes, I think just before you joined, 15th of May. The website is about to go live, which is awesome. But you heard it here first on Hands on SAP Dev. You know, the home of all news all the time. So that's that. So yeah, Volker. Obviously, I'm sure you're going to post the URL to the website and everything. But yeah, recap. Yeah, I quite like that name. Anyway, so there we go. So let's get on to bits and pieces now that we're going to sort of handle here. There was an outage yesterday, actually, in Frankfurt, and it's messed up some of my plans for today, things I was going to cover. So if you're not already aware, there is this SAP Cloud Platform status page thing. In fact, I learned this from Gregor a while ago. So thank you, Gregor, for this. But anyway, yeah, the service has been restored. There was quite a major outage. Multiple services were affected. If I scroll down here, you can get the current status. I can send that URL to the chat here. So go there. All systems operational now. However, my Cloud Platform account is a little messed up. My trial Cloud Platform account on EU10, I was looking at it this morning, and I was thinking, well, shall I go to the bother of destroying it and recreating it and creating all the services again? No. So there's some things left that we can use. So yeah, so we're going to do a little bit of business rules, and also we're going to do a little bit of CAP stuff as well, and also, if we've got time, a little bit of functional programming. So a little bit of stop saying little bit, DJ, stop saying little bit. We're going to do a mixed bag of stuff. There we go. So that's that. The only reason I have this one up is because I have to edit my Twitter ID and put the live thing in there. Okay, so where are we? What do we want to show first? Why don't we start with the Gandalf? All hail the Gandalf. What's that all about? Recap. Well, yeah, but it was a joint effort. It's awesome. It was awesome. So, yeah, like terminal porn there. So why don't we start with something I sort of knew about, but I hadn't really played with, and I couldn't get it working first of all. Then I got some help from David Kuntz, who goes by the avatar name of, is it Just Some Programming Dude? Just Some Programmer Dude? Is David here today? Anyway, David helped me a lot yesterday trying to get my brain around something. Actually, it's quite simple, but it's super useful. Now, let me set the scene. And this came from updating the CAP Node.js CodeJam content. If I go to CAP CodeJam, there we go. If I go there, some of you, or I think a lot of people on this chat, Christian, I love the way that you get some value from the random things that I do in the terminal. Yes, Figlet is awesome, and Lolcat is also super awesome. For those of you who don't know, let me just bring that up. You have Figlet. I can do it right. Figlet, which will say hands on SAP Dev, which will do that. And there's also lots of different fonts you can choose. But then Lolcat, if we pipe that, why is that maybe a bit smaller, maybe? What's going on here? There we go. If we pipe that into Lolcat, it'll sort of colorify. And I think it's different each time. Yeah, pretty awesome. Maybe I should use that as the logo for my Hands on SAP Dev on my YouTube channel. But anyway, yeah, worth joining just for that. I like that. Anyway, what else? What else are we talking? What was I talking about? Oh yes. So we want to have a look at. There we go. The Cloud CAP Node.js CodeJam. And let me set the scene by showing you exercise 10. Add step to specify HANA in package.json. Have I not updated that? 2 days ago. What? Ah, yes. No, I've not updated that yet here. Where is it? Right. Okay. So I'm going to change this step 6 shortly before I come to you, Pierre, in Lyon. But let me show you what I'm going to change it to. Right. Let me set the scene. If I have, let's have a new node project. Why not? Let's have a new cat project. And also, one of the reasons why I've changed this is been doing some modifications to the CodeJam content is because I'm sure some people are aware we have the SAP CDS package, which we all know and love. No, don't apologize, Christian. Distractions are good. I live for distractions. And these sorts of distractions are, all good, right? We're all friends here. We have the SAP CDS package. So let's do an npm info SAP CDS. And we see that it's the entry point and API facade. Quite surprised, Daniel loves Unicode, and I'm surprised the C in facade has not got the Cedilla on it. Anyway, so that has some dependencies there, as we can see, and we all know that, and it's at 3.21.1, the latest version. However, as the tools and the facilities within SAP CDS grew larger and more capable and just grew generally in size, of course, it made less and less sense to have a single package that was used for design time for development, as well as for runtime, because for runtime, you want as small a package as possible. You don't want all the development tools in the runtime environment because it's a waste of everything. So what the teams at SAP have done is created or is made a start to split those things out, and there's now a CDS-DK, CDS development kit. Okay, and so that is what you want to be looking at when you're developing. Okay, you can still use SAP CDS, and to be honest, the command line tools that you use, the CDS command line tool, is in both. But you can see the sort of divergence between SAP CDS and SAP CDS DK. So, I've installed that npm list global, and I've got. Why is it taking so long? Hello, there we go. Yes, so I've got, and I've cleaned everything out here. I've got the latest version of SAP CDS DK installed, and not SAP CDS. So go ahead and install it and have a look. And what you'll find is that the CDS init command has changed slightly. Okay. As you can see here, it's got this --add. Now, before we used to sort of say, well, I want --modules DB and serve, and then you'd have the HANA thing, and then you'd have the MTA thing, and all that sort of stuff. You can still do some of those, and it's just done differently. So I'm just going to generate a project because I want to just demonstrate. I want to get to the place I want to show, which is this whole idea of how to differentiate between SQLite when you're developing locally and HANA when you're building for and deploying to production, right? So I'm going to use, I just want to create a very simple project rather than sort of show you something I've created before. So CDS init, let's clear the screen, add HANA and MTA, okay? That's not going to work. CDS init, and of course the project name, the folder name used to go at the end, but now it goes here. So let's say episode 50. No, I'm not going to call it that because this directory is called episode 50. I confused myself. Test proj. There we go. Right. Okay. Yes, you can still generate the project with a bookshop sample. That's what will happen. You can also still actually CDS init modules db serve Gregor, and it'll do that as well. There's a sort of transition period where it will initialize a project with the stuff that we know and love, but it'll give you this little warning here as well. And as you can see as well, what the old one is doing, as we all know, is running an npm install, and the new version completes really quickly because it doesn't do an npm install. It lets you do that later on whenever you're ready. Okay, so you can still generate a project with the bookshop sample there. Okay, so there we go. And what we've got here, rmrf Gregor, we don't want that one, but what we do want to do is go into test proj, and in there we get a very bare bones. I've deliberately done this with a very bare bones. You get an app folder now, which is why not? We have the DB and serve. There's the backend, and there's the service and the layer, and there's the UI layer. So we get an empty app folder, an empty serve or service folder, and effectively an empty DB folder. We got the package JSON there, which okay, let's not even go there right now. That's just for deployment later on. We get the MTA YAML, and the MTA YAML describes the server module and also the DB module, the sidecar module. Okay, and it describes what it needs, which is an HDI container, which is fine. And then the package.json itself, I've not configured Ranger properly here actually on this particular container, but the package JSON itself is quite small and well formed. Okay, so far so good. Let's just have a cup of coffee. What I want to get to is basically the simplest project that could possibly work. So why don't we say touch? No, in fact, vi db.cds namespace hands on SAP dev. There we go. And then if we say, so we've not installed anything yet. So we'll say npm install development SQLite 3 development dependency. We just want to install that so we can actually deploy to a SQLite database. So we've got a SQLite database in the runtime, in the design time on local, but we'll sort of generate this sort of issue for us when we want to deploy to production. So we've got that, but what we haven't got yet is, of course, the CDS SAP CS package and the Express package and the HTTP package for HANA. So let's do that now. npm install, and then we'll do a deploy to SQLite, and we'll see what happens to the package.json, and then we'll deploy it. Right? Well, then we'll deploy it, but then we'll build it in order to deploy it to Cloud Foundry, and we'll see what the issue is here. There we go. vi package.json. Now we've got this dev dependency here, which is cool. So now, what do we want to do? We want to say CDS deploy to SQLite db.db. Okay, so we've now got a DB file, SQLite database file. And now in package.json, this requires section here has changed, as it were, to SQLite, which is what we want. So if now we run CDS, we can see CDS. Let's use CDS watch, because if you don't know watch, CDS watch is quite cool. Oh yeah, no service models found. It doesn't really matter. CDS. Oh yeah, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to do anything with that. But we've now got the SQL thing. So the SQL's working. Let's just do it very quickly. vi db db.cds entity thing key id integer name string. What a horrible format there. It doesn't matter though. There we go. Fine. Entity thing. Oh, almost forgot. Naming convention, plural on the entities, and then vi serve service.cds using from db. What's it called? db.dbdb entity service tests entity things as projection on hands-on set dev things. Is that what we want? There we go. What's it called? Hands-on SAP dev as HOSD. What's it called? There we go. Fine. CDS watch. Okay, so now we can see a bit of a seat of a pants thing there. Now we can see that it's using a SQLite data source. Okay, there's nothing in the database, of course, but you know there's a SQLite data source. And if we, there we go. If we do at CDS deploy again, deploy CDS watch. As we can see here, let me just bring that up there. We've got localhost test things, refresh there. Okay, so it's all working. Now, what happens if we want to deploy to Cloud Foundry? Well, first we're going to build it. Okay, so let's bring that problem to the fore. There we go. Let's just have that there and say MBT. Have we got MBT here? No, we haven't got MBT. CDS npm install. I thought I'd got MBT. nps install -g MBT. This is the multi-target build tool. If you remember, in a couple of episodes ago, we had a look in the SAP Web IDE at the old deprecated build process that used the Java build tool. And then we did that in Web IDE, then we did it on the command line. And then we use this new build tool. Oh, what's that there? Trending in. There we go. Then we use a new build tool, MBT, to build it again. Let's understand how that works. So MBT, does that work now? Yes, it does. Okay, so if we now say, well, actually, what we want to do first is CDS build all. Okay, this is what I want to see. Now, there is the problem. We don't want SQLite in production. Okay. What we want, of course, is HANA in production. We want to use HANA in production. So the sort of the brain, not the brain dead approach, but the simple approach is to go down here and change that SQLite to HANA. Okay. Now, if I run that again, it now says found HANA database, determining implementation technology, and so on. Right? Hey, Phil, great to be here. Yes, great to have you here for the 50th episode. Actually, as we all know, I'm sure we all start counting at 0. So this is actually the 51st episode. That's our inside secret for the hands-on SAP dev community, of course. But we can celebrate the 50th one, right? So welcome, Phil. Welcome, Phil. So that's the problem. Of course, the build will now work, but that also means that when we say CDS watch or npm start CDS run, it's now going to connect to. I want to do that down there. Oops, what am I doing? Bring that up. Come on, DJ. There we go. And if I refresh that now, of course, it's sort of broken my design time local. So what we want to do is have an ability to switch between sort of, let's call them development mode and production modes. All about devs here, we start to count at 1. Yes, I mean, there are some languages that do start counting at 1. ABAP is one of them, but also there are other languages. Is it something like does Pascal array start at 1? Or some language like that, or is it some, I don't know, modular 2? I don't know. But anyway, did anybody find that reference to, unless it doesn't exist, that reference to Bob Dylan, Other Side of the Tracks? Anyway, come on, DJ, what am I doing? Right, okay, so that's the problem. Okay, there's the problem statement. So the solution is not to sort of hand modify that each time, every time you want to sort of, go back and forth. The solution is to use, what am I doing here? There we go. The solution is to use this thing called a runtime configuration profile. Okay, there's the profile there, and the idea is, and I'm sure you've seen this somewhere, but the idea is that you can specify a profile in the square brackets, and that, or the children of that node in the JSON will be used to overwrite things. So, and you can do it in lots of different ways. I'm gonna try it this way. So we can say here, we'll keep this SQLite, but we can also say here, under DB, we can have a profile production. I think it's like that. Yeah, production, kind, Hannah. There we go. So now we've defined, I think that's the right way. I'll have to log in a minute. As you can see, this is all sort of live, seat of the pants type thing. You can define a production profile with the subset of name and value pairs that you want to be different in that particular profile. So now, if I did that again, if I did a CDS watch or run, you can see I'm back to SQLite, okay? And also, if I do a CDS build all, you can see I'm also back to SQLite there. You can see that at the top. Oops, no, I don't want to do that. Just there. However, now what I can do is, as it shows in that documentation, let me paste that documentation there. Now what you can do, as it shows just here, is specify this value for the node env parameter, okay, which the cat runtime looks out for, and it will use anything relating to the value for that node env. So theoretically now, if I say node env equals production, CDS build all, we're back now to Hannah. But we can still say node env banana or something else, or even get rid of node env, and then we'll go back to SQLite. So there's a nice little thing. I'll be modifying that step 6. It was sort of half modified because I couldn't figure out how to do it properly. I'm talking about this thing here now. I'm going to go back to modify step 6 and explain that you don't have to sort of hard code or overwrite Hannah with SQLite, but you can use this profile mechanism. I hope that was useful. I thought it was definitely worth sharing. So there we go. Do we want to do anything else? Yeah, why don't we just let's see what happens if we do the build. Node env build. Is it going to build? Yeah, there we go. We got the build and we got the database part of the build there, which is quite cool. Anyway, that was that. Now let's move on to, what time is it now? Oh God, 8:39. Let's move on to what we can do with the business rules API, and just move a little bit further forward from where we were last time. Last time we started looking, because my project, or the project that we created in the business rules service, is still there. The business rules service as a whole is still there, but it's just that my trial account from a cloud platform cockpit perspective is a little bit messed up at the moment. I don't know whether that was me or whether it was a result of the outage yesterday, or a combination of me trying to do things during the outage. I couldn't delete my instance of the business rule service. So what I did stupidly whereas I set a watch command to repeatedly try and delete it every 60 seconds for an hour, because I was really annoyed. And that didn't work either. So yeah, don't do that. But anyway, what we do have is the ability to still call the design time API. So let's remind ourselves of what that looks like. If we go to, where are we? There we go, api.sap.com. Let's log on, because I want to sort of complete the circle, as it were, or complete the chain of how to use OAuth to make a call to one of the design time or runtime APIs for business rules and for all the other services or similar services in Cloud Foundry, which don't use basic authentication but do use OAuth, because it's a little bit different. If I go down to, where is it? Let's just Cloud Business Rules. There we go, Cloud Platform Business Rules. We should all know this by now. Rule authoring for Cloud Foundry. And as we saw, where we got to, we started looking at the projects, not post, but we started doing a get on the project, okay? And what we also had is this sort of environment here, which we remind ourselves, we define this environment where we got our endpoint, BPM rule repository. That's the endpoint that we call. But also we need to authenticate using client ID and secrets from the service key of the instance of the business rule, which is sort of still there, but I can't get to it from my Cloud Platform cockpit. So let's try that. We'll sort of fly a little bit blind and see where we got to. If let me remind ourselves, remind us of where we got to. And what I did just before is, hold on a second, what am I doing here? One second. Okay, I was just setting my password in an environmental variable so we can't see it. So what we did is something a little bit like this. Okay, and this came from that blog post that I referred to in episode 49's annotations blog post, a blog post by Archana Shukla. The process generally is that if you want to make a call to an authoring or a runtime API, what you need to do first of all is request a token and then via OAuth, and then use that token for authorization. Okay, so it's not basic authentication. It's sort of token-based, OAuth token-based authorization. I need to get used to these. Stupidly, I've changed my key binding. There we go. There we go. There we go. We changed my key binding, so I keep switching the wrong screen. So what we had was a request, a first request to the authentication endpoint to say, give me, please, a token. I want a token. Here's my username and password. And of course, our password is not shown. That's my Cloud Platform username and password. I'm giving it to you in the payload of a post request. So in curl, when you do -- data or -D, that will send data and implicitly mean that the method that's going to be used on this curl request, on this HTTP request, is post. Send it with this this content type, a URL encoded form of name value pairs, very, very old fashioned, but still works beautifully. I'm also using netrc, which means, and in fact, if I bring that in, to remind ourselves of what that looks like, that netrc will use a login and password. These again, I've just recreated these, but I'm going to destroy these again, and you still can't use them anyway because you haven't got the password. So that's fine. So these will be used instead of supplying password information on the command line. Okay, so that was what we got. That's where we got to. So let's run that, get token, and see what happens. There we go. That's a lot of output. Let's scroll back up through that. That's the output that we get. In fact, if we just modify that and say verbose and have a look, oops, that we can see that we got a 200 OK. We sent the content type header. We sent our basic authorization, which was from the netrc, and we also sent the content itself. What we got back was this bit of JSON here. So now let's change that back to silent rather than get all that header stuff. And now parse it out, and all we want is the access token. There we go. And there it is. What we want is the access token in sort of raw form, so we don't get the quotes around it. So what we can say is raw, is it raw output? Maybe it's not -- raw. Oh, output. Raw output. Oops. Sorry, what am I doing here? Right, okay. Raw output, that was a bit of a weird thing. And we just get now the token. So we can do that again and say export token equals the result of doing that. Oh. Export token equals, there we go, sorry, spaces. It's been a long morning already. So we've got the token now, and now what we need to do, we can use that token as a bearer token in authorization calls to get information from the API, which of course, as we know, again, is this thing here. So why don't we do this one here? We've only got 12 minutes left. Why don't we do this one and see what happens? So in order to do this, this is the V1 projects. And if you remember, let's remind ourselves, the endpoint is here, BPM rules repository. So the resulting URL, again, you can't, I don't know why they do this in the gray, you can't see it. The resulting URL is that one there. Okay, so let's now use that. Why don't we say copy get token to get project info, vi get project info. Let's do that. What am I doing? Come on. Now the content type, there isn't a content type because we're not doing a get. Sorry, we're not doing a post. We're going to do a get. As you can see here, as we can see here, we want to get. We're also not sending any data, but what we are sending is a header which looks like this. Authorization. I'm really making this up as I go along. I have no idea what I'm doing. Authorization bearer token. Let's put that in. Let's use good practice and put the actual environmental variable name in curly brackets so it doesn't get mixed up with anything else. Now, and we also want, what was the URL? Well, let me get the URL from the other screen again. The endpoint is copy there. And we want here a V1 projects. Okay, I think that's right. Yeah, verbose, netrc, projects. Let's just see what happens when we do that. Get project info. There we go. In fact, let's pipe that into, let's go back to silent mode again. We can see that's working. JQ. If we just pipe it into JQ, which is this jQuery, not jQuery, which is this JSON query language or command line tool. It's awesome. If you haven't heard of JQ, then I suggest you take a look. It's really awesome. I'm sure you've talked about it before. If we just pipe it through JQ and just tell it with a dot to say, just give us everything, it will just pretty print it for us. So there we go. That seems to work really nicely, actually. So we've got this airline discounts here. That seems to work. So basically, what we've managed to do is request a token. And that token can be used repeatedly. I'm not sure how long, does anybody know how long this token is valid for? I guess we can find out by reading documentation. I'm not going to make you watch me read documentation to find out how long the token is valid for, but we should be able to call that a number of times, right? Name, let's just see if we can use JQ to get can we just get the name? No, hold on. JQ. Is it? Oh, it's name with capital, isn't it? Yeah. What I'm doing. I'm not even explaining what I'm trying to do here. There we go. Now, did I really need that space? No. Okay. So what? There's a little bit of JQ syntax to say. Well, let's have a look. To say the output, as you can see here, the output is an array. Starts here, and it's an array of objects. Okay, so what I'm saying is, give me the first item in the array that is implicitly at the root, and then in that first item, the 0th item, I just want the name. Yeah, sorry, I just want the value of the name property, which is airline discounts. If I said ID, you could get the ID. So if I did this, for example, ID, get the ID. So that is the syntax there, which is quite nice. It's a super powerful sort of JSON parser on the command line. Christian, the URL you use to get the token is not the URL of the XSRF handling service of the business rule service, is it? In which episode were the details of that approach again? Ah, okay. So the URL. Okay. So let's sort of pull this apart a little bit. First of all, the URL that I use to get the token is not the URL of the endpoint that I do to make the actual request. Let's just go through that. In fact, why don't I to just demonstrate that bit first, then we'll talk about the cross-site request forgery handling, token handling thing in a second. If I look at get token and then also look at get projects, we got the get token here, and you can see that the get token endpoint is this trial authentication EU10 OAuth token. So that's specific to me, and that came from the service key information of the instance of the business rule service that I've got running right now in Cloud Foundry. Okay, so yours will be different. Yours will be, whatever your trial sub-account name is. Okay, that's my trial sub-account name. And that is almost like that is the authentication server. It's like, please, authentication server, here are my credentials, give me a token that I can use. In subsequent calls to actual, useful endpoints like the design time endpoint and the runtime endpoint. At the moment, we're messing around with the design time endpoint. This is that Cloud Foundry API design time. And we can see that down here with this URL. And this is the BPM rule repository endpoint. okay, which is not specific to me. This is the general BPM rule repository endpoint, the design time endpoint on Cloud Foundry on EU10 in the trial. So that's what I'm using there now. So those two things are different. But interestingly enough, we've not covered yet the other thing that you mentioned, which is, of course, let's go back here, the cross-site request forgery handling. Okay. The reason we haven't covered that is because in non-destructive, let's call them safe HTTP requests, as in safe, no side effects, we don't need it. XSRF or CSRF, I don't know why they call it XSRF, CSRF, cross-site request forgery tokens are used if you want to basically make a post request, to make a request that has side effects. So that is, and you're saying here, in which episode where the details of that. So the cross-site request forgery. Let's just have a look. Hands on SAP Dev. I think I've got the URL here actually. Just quick access. Are you looking for? There was a previous episode where we did. I'm not going to scroll through all these, but where we did use. Was it the business rules, or might have been the workflow, where we did we got the cross-site request forgery token in order to make a destructive call or a call with side effects. And I think also, if you want to make a call to the actual, what's the word I'm looking for? To the actual runtime API of business rules, certainly with version 1 of the runtime of the business rules, where are we here? Rule authoring. Let's go back to here. Look at the artifacts. If you remember, the rule execution API has changed, and the rule execution API for Neo, where is it? Rule execution API for Neo. Get rule service. Invoke rule service. When you invoke the rule service, you needed to go and get an XSRF token or a CSRF token. So I think that's what we did. So what I'll do after the stream's finished, in a couple of minutes, is go and look through and figure out which episode that was, and I'll point you to that. Bitwarden. Oh, yeah. Tell me more about Bitwarden, Helmut. Yes, I've used something similar to that in the past, but I'd be interested to find out about Bitwarden. Yes, exactly. So the OAuth token is like an authentication service flow that you then use to get a token that you can then use. So basically, I mean, one of the things with OAuth, I'm not an OAuth expert, but one of the things with OAuth is that you end up not having to send your super important credentials, like your username and your password, to a service in order to, authenticate yourself. You can do that with a more trusted endpoint, as in the OAuth endpoint that we talked about. Get a token that is throwaway, that is temporary. And again, this goes back to how temporary is it? I don't know, I can't remember. That's how the whole thing works. Yeah, exactly. So as Phil's saying, it's basically using a service provided on cloud platform. So I hope that's a little bit clearer. Sorry if I didn't explain it very well. And in fact, that reminds me of something when you were asking about what episode it was. What I'm also thinking of doing is exposing episode information from Hands on SAP Dev in terms of what the episodes were, what the titles were, what the short descriptions were, and also maybe some tags as well, like workflow, like OAuth or whatever. Cheers, Volker. Thanks for joining. And either exposing that as an API so you can call it, but also exposing it as a node package. This would be a really nice way for me to learn and for us to learn about the GitHub package registry. So if I'm thinking of building a very, very simple NPM package on my GitHub account using the GitHub package registry. So then you can then npm install that and programmatically through an API find out, do a search, like answer a question like Christian asked, saying, you know, what episodes have references to workflow, or what episodes have a reference to OAuth. But anyway, that's the idea. It's 9 o'clock. That was a bit of a mixed bag, but yes, I hope that was okay. Thanks in part to the outage yesterday on the cloud platform, but I'm sure we'll get back to normal next time. I hope you have a great rest of Friday, and yeah, I shall see you next time. Thanks for joining.